All right, welcome to the OFX podcast. Today we are here with like the RX1 Grand Poobah, head guru, I don't know what you call it, Sebastien Corbeil, and we're going to talk about everything RX1 because I actually get, I know we haven't had a lot come up yet, but I get a lot of elites like down from South asking about it, like Lauren Weeks, Rich Ryan, Anthony, Lauren Weeks' husband, Anthony, I can't say his last name. But Ryan Kent, like a lot of the big athletes down there always asking me about it. They love the concept. I haven't got them up yet. It's just, schedules and difficulty and all that, but they're all very interested. So big thing I want to do is I want to start covering more of the pro end of RX1. I want to, because I have seen these people in person and they are legit good. I mean, we had Marjorie Lassard on and just amazing athlete, did very well in the Open this year. And kind of, yeah, I want to expose people to what it is because it is so much fun. It's a great race. So first question, very simple for the people who have not tuned into us and haven't heard me drown on or whatever. Basic basic quick statement. What is RX1?
Well, you could summarize it easily in a big WOD of 60 minutes. Let's put it that way. It's one big workout of 60 minutes. And within that 60 minutes, you've got anywhere between, let's say the lowest race will have at 2 kilometers, could go as high as 5 kilometers within that 60 minutes about. And we'll range between eight, the least station up to 12 station of exercise of functional training. So part of the whole station will have some carry. For example, for the example of this weekend, we'll have 2 carry station, and after that, I believe it's 6 or 7 station of reps in the final zone. And we often separate it like that, where we'll have a zone of running, a zone of carrying, and then a zone of rep. It's more and more the way we tend to do it because the reps are fun to watch at the end with all the spectators around. And that's pretty much it. Simple as that for as far what the product is.
Yeah, like I first wanted to do my first one in 2017, and what I was impressed with, and back then I was kind of looking at something that was similar to OCR, but also more of a workout thing too, more strength. 'Cause like OCR takes a certain amount of strength, but not compared to like to what you guys have, right? Where you're actually going to be doing some legit lifting and whatnot. Especially since most things now don't have a tire flip in OCR, it's become far less strength. So for people who like to run a little, like to lift a little, it's right in there.
Yeah, it's the perfect where because we have many categories now. So like even someone that kind of starts working out can get into it because you could walk the course, you could the weights are light for whoever wants to start in the découverte category, let's say, and we go as high as the pros. But it's whoever has a certain base of running, likes to do a little bit, like you said, a bit of cardio, likes to go to the gym regularly. Like we have that just that perfect fit in the middle of all this. And also for the pro athlete, let's say, they're not quite ready for CrossFit Games or that level. It's a specification to be there and a dedication to be there. But they want to find where everybody that kind of went to the quarterfinal. I was going to the quarterfinals of CrossFit right now. Like this gang that qualified for it, but are not going to make to the semifinal. That's where, at least for the pro, that's where we hit where we could be your sport. Like at that level, if you have a base of good cardio and a good strength, but at the pro level, you'll do very, very well in what we do. And we see it with Marjorie Lassard that did great in the overall, and same thing for Kevin Gosselin, our 2 winners of last year.
Yeah, they're amazing. They're absolutely amazing athletes. And the thing with the pro too, like it is very much like CrossFit where you're gonna have to be prepared for anything. You're gonna have a high skill. Like for me, what I'm noticing is because one day I have ambition to one day get through a pro race, not to win, not to do anything, just to finish.
Bucket list, finished one.
Pick a lift, have a red shirt, be done it. But I got to
Exactly.
wait for the right one, the right skill level to hit me because there's a lot of high skill movements in it, right? Like to me, that's the big difference when you jump from expert to pro is the skill level jumps up
Exactly.
so much, and that's. I'm going to try to do some live stream while I'm out there to get some video for people to see. Um, Difference though, like so a lot of people think, okay, so you're CrossFit with running, which isn't really true. Big difference, and the one thing that I see set up with you guys that always has intrigued me is the team aspect. So how's the team set up with you guys?
Yeah, well, the team that came in, that's going to be, I think, a 13 years. Yeah, it's going to be a 13 season. And after our first season, so the first year we did this, it was like 25 to 30 person per event. It was a very, very small. It was very backyard like. But we didn't have any teams. It was individual, the whole thing. And then the second year, we figured, okay, what do we do? Do we hire sales rep or we find captains? We create teams and captains kind of play as a sales rep and recruits for us, you know? So we said, and we love hockey. Like I'm a big fanatic of hockey. So the whole concept of hockey in the league and teams made sense to me. And also the inclusion part, having teams where you'll need pros in your team, you'll need experts in your team, but you're also going to need avatar and juniors in your team. So all that was kind of going through my mind, and I said, you know what, let's put that in the second year. Let's involve the teams and try to build that. And it's been our success. You know, it's then that we really start to see a curve going up, and that keeps on going up. So, but in large, basically, you participate to the events individually. So let's say Mr. Claxton runs Expert 4554, finishes first, scores points by finishing first for his team. And so there's 15 person in the team like that. And the 15 person brings point to the team. And what we do is we take the 10 best teams, the 10 best athletes that did the points among the 15 for the points. So let's say we have 5 athletes that did 0 points and 10 athletes that made points, but we take the points of these 10 athletes that goes to the standing for the overall standing. And new of this year is before we used to have regions where you would be the best team, let's say, of Gatineau and the best team of Montreal. That we abolished that this year. It's one big general standing that we have now. So let's say Dave, you do all the races, all of them. Like you take the all you can race pass and you do all of them. But we'll take your 3 best finishing of the season, your 3 best points. Those are the 3 that's going to go to your team. So even if you did 7 races and you scored in 7 of them, only your 3 best will go to your team. So that way it's fair for every team. We take the 3 best, and then overall we look at the overall standing, and a 5 best team among there's I think we're more than 65 teams now. The 5 best teams are going into Division 1 for the Grand Cup at the final. So even at the final, if one of the team that's in that came in 10 before the event does more point than the team that wins, they didn't qualify for it. There's season, you got to qualify, and you fall into that Division 1, and we have Division 2, 3, and 4.
All right, that's cool. And then, but you're still also still separated as well. Do you still have the team competitions in the geographical regions?
I'm sorry, repeat that.
Still have the team competitions in geographical regions.
No,
So
no,
there's
that's
that.
off.
No, there's
No, that's off completely this year. So we travel across, we have events across, but you don't have any more standing per region. It's one large standing to qualify. So we
okay.
could end up with 5 teams from Quebec, you know, as the 5 best team if they did great on the nation tour in the circuit. We could end up with 2 teams from Gatineau and 3 from Montreal, none from the other region. It's the 5 best club that's going to make it to the Grand Cup in Division 1. That's
Okay.
new.
Now, now, what about individual wise? Is there still individual?
Individual now we have per race. If you won that race that day, you get your podium and everything, but it's the same thing as the team is. We do not have the champion of Gatineau individual or the champion of Montreal Gatineau. It's per race, but at the final, that's when we really see who's the best in the province slash Ontario.
Okay. All right. I get it. I get it. I get it. So it's a
New
little
thing
more,
this
a
year.
little more like regular seasons, and then there's just your playoff is your 1 day playoff.
That's it.
Big.
Exactly. Exactly.
All right. All right. Cool. Let me see here. What? So one of the things that I mean, I saw this on Ray Chavez's story the other day, and I know you've always had goals of expansion and whatnot. So videos in Times Squares, what's going on with that, man?
That you'll learn about that in a few months from now.
Oh,
That's
that's
all I can
just
say.
harsh.
You'll learn about it in August. What
All
happened?
right, all right, all right,
And
all
it
right.
was pretty cool.
It was a cool video just to see, just to see. Um,
FBI top secret.
all right.
I was
Do you guys got like any plans? Because your races for the most part, yeah, there's a run that can go off for a little bit, but it's a very streamable event. Do you guys have like any plans to set up a live stream? But because
Uh, you're reading in my mind. Like
yeah,
there's two plans we have now. Like first thing this year was to consolidate. We've been working on the expansion the last few years. Now this year, one of the goal was okay. Let's take what we have and let's bring that to another level. What we have, and then see again for the expansion after that. So that's for the expansion question. Then the next step is actually had meetings this year as far as trying to get like a streaming, you say in English, like
yeah, yeah,
a
yeah,
stream. So I had the meetings. We're building budget on that. It's not going to happen this year, but it's a short, very short objective to have at least the final stream,
yeah.
so that people can, it's more accessible to everyone to actually see it. And then when we do that, the goal is from there, okay, well, if you want expense there, okay, you heard about the product now, well, call us and let's see if we can bring that to New York or Boston or Plattsburgh or wherever that could be possible.
Yeah, because I think it would be a very good product. I mean, there's a little bit where you could go where they're out on the runs, but generally it's not too far. You could cover that even with a drone or something like that for a little bit, or fill time, whatever. There. Um, and then everything's very tight knit, good camera angles and good area, good visuals. So, and you guys also have a very nice atmosphere. The branding, the fences, everything looks really good. It's really professional now. So I think it's time that the rest of the
Yeah, yeah,
people
yeah,
get to
that's
see it.
I agree with you 100%. And also um I only have the word in English and French, but more than natural streaming at the event, but it's also to what's before. Every what we do meet with you today.
Mhm.
Like uh, that's let's say forget the outside. Let's talk about our nation, our runners. They need to learn more about what's going on. Who's Dave Claxton?
Yeah.
Who's Alex Martel? Who's Joey Desbiens? Like what's happening now with Marjorie Lessard? What is she doing? Like all these things. What are the teams that are coming that we think might win this year? So that all that broadcast prior and during,
Mhm.
as far as our short objective, that's part of all this.
Yeah.
One up that level.
Now, straight out, I mean, do you think the language barrier held that back a little bit?
Well, it is. I mean, it's we did a good step last year on that part. This year with a consolidation, we kind of like just kind of maintain what we did last year, but the English is it's as part of the streaming and the broadcast and all that. That's our next really big step that we need to take as far as that, But as you know, in Quebec, I mean, everything needs to be done in two languages by law. So there's expense to that, that comes with that. There's time that comes to that. So we think people think it's easy just write in English and French.
No.
Well, it's employee wise, hiring company and everything, it doubles the cost on many things. So we try to make it so that it's accessible for the English and to get the information. But our next step is yes to invest even more in that and that we get out of Quebec and that the English can find kind of their more of their room with us than they are now because we have unfortunately a very small percentage of the English population doing what we do now. Very small percentage.
The and Sub's not just making excuses for anyone who's ever tried to set up a business, either say in the States or Ontario, and then move into Quebec, or set up a business in Quebec and then move out. It is not easy. It is an absolute pain, which is kind of sad, but eventually you guys will get there and eventually it pays off. But it is not it's not an easy process. They definitely make it difficult for businesses to expand that way, either in or out. So I mean, I guess there's plus and minuses with that, right?
Well, that's
Yeah. So you say about names and stuff. So yeah, tell me who are we looking out for this year? Who are the teams that looking good at the top? Who are your individuals that look good at the top?
well, as far as teams that we the squad team chaos from Gatineau is stacked, completely stacked. I mean, I can't imagine they won't make it in the top five. If they don't, it's either injuries or they didn't do the lineup properly. But to me, that's like it's a given that they'll be there. It's same thing for there's a team in Quebec called Boulette Fitness. Same thing, really stacked. They're lacking a tad in the pro, but all the other carries it's perfectly stacked. McDuff Training is always that's from Montérégie. They're always there, always there, close by. So that's another team that I would put there as a favorite. And sorry, I keep looking always at the little screen there. I'll look
Oh,
at
that's
you.
okay.
And an old team that's been here for a long time that has I think three or four times his name on the cup already. It's Garage Octo, which merged with Les Costauds, which is our team here at the in Vaudreuil. Again, like stacked up this year, especially in pros. Like we have three teams that have three pros in it, like where we're stacked. And that used to be an issue having pros before, but we build them up to there. So I'm looking at these four teams: Les Costauds, Squad Team Chaos, Bullet Fitness, and McDuff Training to be almost a sure shot top five. And then after that, let's see who makes it. And also, a team like Squad Team Chaos, you could build up to five teams under the same name. So even it could be Squad Team Chaos 1 and Squad Team Chaos 2
Hmm.
that's possible as well. We'll find out. And as far as individual, let's say we talk about pros. Uh, Marjorie's been in the mix. I mean, she won last year. The 2 years prior, I mean, one race she didn't finish because she hurt her wrist on the tire flip. I mean, she's so close every single year top two that I don't see her losing. And you'll hear a little video on her. She had a little interview with Papaye Supplement about a few weeks ago. And she says, I won and now I'm never going to lose it again. You know, like she's that type of attitude where she's a winner and she wants to keep winning. But we have a few surprises here in Vaudreuil for her, like especially one new athlete woman, Catherine Mallette, her name is. She'll be brand new on the nation tour. She'll be quite a surprise. I'm looking forward to see what she's going to do. You know, it's you cannot always translate what's happening in the gym to what's happening in the race. You know, you got the heat, you got the wind, you got some cold. I mean, you never know. I mean, you know what it is.
Yep.
We have good feelings for this girl to give a good push to Marjorie. And Evelyn Lépine is also, she won 2 years in a row. So not last year, but the 2 years prior to that, she won 2 years ago. The only pro that ever did that, winning 2 years in a row. So she's also always in the mix. So as far as women, we have three women that will be battling there, but there's so many new women too that I have no idea who they are. I think one is called Emilie Moreau. I hear a good thing about her. So there'll be quite a bit of surprise there. As far as the men's side, we have Marc-Antoine Tremblay-Etsu that pretty much won every single race last year, got to
Yep.
the final and was not even close to a podium there. I mean, it was not his day or tired from the whole season, but he certainly want to redeem that. We saw his training. He bulked up even more. Always been a good runner, but now he's bulked up more. So from what we see on social media, the guy seems to have a pretty straight goal this year of getting the title. The guy that won last year is training like a madman, Kevin Gosselin, ranked very well at the CrossFit Open as well. He was here a few weeks ago also with Papaye Supplement. We saw him in a training. I think you saw the workout that we
Yep.
posted. So did quite a time that even expert and intermediate couldn't beat, you know, and pro has a lot more weight to lift. So he's definitely the favorite. We have a rookie here called Samuel Barrière. He's actually one of our sponsors too for RX1. And so he's a rookie first year pro. And the times that he's putting out right now are pretty amazing. I mean, we've been doing the races of the last year, you know, in the gym to kind of see where you stand. And it's top five, top five, top five, top five at every single race. Again, gym and outside, two different story. But this guy started juvenile 4 years ago.
Oh, wow.
Intermediate, expert last year, pro. So he graduated every single year, so he knows what to expect, you know, on the field. So, and then the 35 plus, we have Alex Martel that won last year. I mean, he's our legend. I mean, the guy has been with us since day one. He's in a good place mentally. You know, last year was in a great place mentally. He's in a good place mentally this year. So I still put him favorite, you know, to start the season. But so many new names this year, Dave. It's so feel wide open to me, you know.
Well, you wait, because I've been lining this up for a long time, and I can't get all these girls to come out for a while. But I have a pro women's team getting ready
Yeah.
to come up for a final. I don't think it'll make it to happen this year, but I will tell you right now, women who have told me that they're going to come up and they'll come out for a final for Team OFX. We got Lauren Weeks, Meg Jacoby, Heather White, Tara Jackson. All say they're all going to come up and do one,
Yeah, yeah.
and they all want to come up for a final. And that day, I'm just putting all the women on notice there. If those girls come up for that, wow, you're in for a shock because
Oh, we need
you
women,
better
you know.
have your running shoes on. Those ladies can run.
People are listening. I mean, that's one. It's if there's one category that we have, it's taking time to build. It's the pro woman. It's as if like our step between expert and pro. It's quite big, And then we seem to have a hard time finding like girls that are willing to take up that kind of challenge, because it's got to be a bit crazy to to do a full season in the pro woman. But that's one where there's room. So whoever teams that recruit women and can finish these races, it's a lot of points for the team because there's not that many competitors in a woman. The guys now we're stacked. We have a minimum
Yeah.
about 20 per race in the pro men. So that's a tougher field. But for the woman, I mean, it's wide open. Whoever comes in, I mean, can do great right away.
Well, I don't mean to put pressure on her. She's not here today, but my partner Bethany McChesney has been hitting the CrossFit gym.
Okay.
She's getting her lifts in line, and we all know she can run like the wind. If she ever figures out, gets those lifts done where she can make that level, ooh, that's another one to watch out for. She'll be great. And we'll both be out to Gatineau this week. That's amazing. So I kind of wanted to go through, and just because this is it's coming up now, and for people to know, I wanted to review the Gatineau course, right? So we'll go through it. Do you have it, or do you want me to kind of call it up, or
Was that sorry?
the Gatineau course? We wanted to go through the
Yeah.
Gatineau course just so we could tell people kind of what the courses are like,
Yeah.
what to expect, but you can't just go by it because every race is different. Always
Every
feel.
different. And so what we usually do is the Sunday prior to the race. That's when we put out the video. Okay. That allows. There's still 2 days to sign up for the race. So that allows for people to either say, "Okay, I always wanted to do one pro. This one, I think I can do it. It doesn't have muscle up. It doesn't have rope climb, whatever. So let me try it." So people can change category in that 48-hour window. There's a fee to it, but they could change and tackle that race if they find that it's easier and they could do it. And the opposite is also true. They can master the ring muscle up as a pro and will they go down expert and everything. But the idea is we put that 2 days prior to the closing of the ticket sale so that people sometimes are nervous to can I do this? Can I not do it? I don't know. It's a mystery. So let me wait for that video. I see it. I'm good. It puts me comfortable. Bang. Let's tackle it. And what we have this weekend is it's always the easiest of the year, like it's the first one. People have been racing since the last of September in most parts. So we start with an easier race. It usually lasts between the fastest will be around the 42, 43 minutes. There's always the slowest that could go above an hour and 5, an hour and 10 minutes, but roughly the 55-minute range will be the average out of all the athletes. Also, technique wise, we don't bring things that are too gymnastic or extreme, I should say, extreme gymnastic into it. It's kind of like an ease into it for the season. So we're going to be starting this week with 2,000-meter row for men,
Yeah,
2,200,
2,200. Yeah.
2,200 for the men and 1,700-meter row for the woman. That will be done on a turf. Right out as soon as you get out of there, then we'll have some clean carry, walking lunges. Sorry, walking lunges with a barbell. So again, on the turf, it'll be approximately 40 to 50 lunges. So 20 to 25 lunge one way, 20 to 25 lunge the other way. We'll have a distance put for that. After that, we're going to be moving to clean carry with a slam ball. So you basically clean the ball on your shoulder, carry it to a certain line, so on and so forth. It will be a total of 200 yards. So we'll do the whole field of carry with the slam ball.
I want to stop you right there for one sec because this is one of the things that I love that you guys do. And any other race, I'm like, I don't know why they don't do this. But sometimes we all know that with any kind of hybrid race, judging can be a real problem,
It
especially
is.
finding enough volunteers, finding enough judges, and then quality ones too. You guys do something that I think solves a huge problem. So when you're talking about the cleans, right, with the dead ball. So normally, if you were doing a stationary one, you'd need to have a judge to judge form and to count reps. But because you guys are going and you mark lines on the ground, whatever it is 10 meters, 5 meters, 1 meter, whatever it is, you pick the ball up, you clean to your shoulder. In order to walk forward, that means you have to have it up there.
Exactly.
So you have to have done it right. Whether you looked great doing it or not, who cares? But you got it up there. Then you walked forward, you hit that line, you drop it down. That means you got one rep in. Nobody had to count it. Nobody had to supervise it. So you can have one volunteer, one judge watching like 10 people and
Exactly.
going in. I've always thought that was one of the best things I think you guys have done. And yeah, I just wanted to point out to people.
Point it out because we try to at one point we had rep zone that had 10 exercise, but we're needing like 30 referees. It didn't make sense, like it was
Yeah.
financially didn't make sense, and recruiting referees didn't make sense either. And I can't remember who in the team thought about that, to do I believe it's Sam McDuff, but to do these reps like that on over distance, It's perfect. Like it avoids all kind of ref rings. It adds distance to the total package. So sometimes they'll look at their watch. We did 5 kilometers today. I thought we are running only three. Well, when you carry two others, without even noticing, that you did. So once we're done with the clean carry, we're moving to the running. So we'll be running 2.4 kilometers this weekend, asphalt. So it's in the streets of Gatineau. So asphalt. And then after that, you get into that zone, that rep zone, which we usually tend to, for people that have never seen it, we tend to have it so that all the spectators are totally around that zone, encouraging the athletes. And the tents kind of set up just, the team tents just kind of set up around that. So it becomes like a bit like an arena, like a battling, if you want, if you want
Yep.
to look at it that way. And we'll be tackling 40, let me see, by heart. I believe it's 40 step up with a kettlebell to start.
Okay.
Uh, so it'll be a box of 20-inch for women, a box of 24-inch for men. So kettlebell step up, 40. After that, you're moving into a one-arm clean and press with a dumbbell, 40 reps in total, alternating whatever you want, left and right, whatever that feels like. We have also 40 burpees over bar, part of that zone, 40 burpees over bar. We followed this with my memory. I believe we have a complex of, oh yeah, that's true. It's a complex of toes to bar with 5 wall walks. So 20 toes to bar. For categories that are lower, they're knee to chest or knee to hip, with 5 wall walks. And for the lower categories, it's a plank, walking, push-ups, So we have exercise to make sure that every category can actually finish. So it's 20 and 5, 2 sets. And then we move into what we call a little complex of one cluster followed by one hang clean squat. And you repeat that 10 times. So it's a complex of 2 exercises and you repeat it 10 times to the finish. I don't think
There
I'm
you go.
missing.
No, I think this is all, and I'll tell you straight out that the complex at the end, that's the only reason I couldn't do the pro weight this year
Oh,
for this
yeah.
race. It and here's the thing, I can do it,
Because
but at
that's
the
what,
end,
155, I believe.
yeah, 155 for pro. Yeah. Yeah, I can do it, but at the end of a race like that, and I straight out say I do not have the skill set, I do not have the form, I do not have the training for working with bars. That's been my drawback for a long time. So because of that, I'm like, I can do it, but it's hard and it hurts and it's not right. And I'm probably more in line to hurt myself than I
Well,
am to complete it.
just to give you an example, the pros that practice this week, none of them are doing 2 reps in a row. All
Yeah.
of them are doing one complex break.
Yeah.
What they're used to lift 155 regularly, but with the fatigue that kicks in and a cluster and a hang clean squat, it's like 5 movements in one sequence. So you still end up 5 times 10, still ends up with 50 movements overall. It's I when I received the course, I said, yeah, that looks like an easy way to finish. How come he didn't make it harder? Hey, my God.
Did you give it a shot?
Surprise, surprise. A lot harder than it looks like.
Oh yeah, yeah. Like so I've been practicing just with the expert weight too, and I'm like, even the expert weight, like I can do 10. I can do 10, but I'm not gonna. I'm doing like sets of two, probably, when I get there, because that's gonna be at the end of an hour long workout,
Exactly.
where you've already exerted yourself, you've stretched your shoulders, and not only just at the end of an hour long workout, but the end of like what I would call the lifting zone, where you've come in through all that. I mean, how tired is anybody even just after doing 40 burpees over the bar?
Just that, just
Just
that. I mean,
that.
all that listening to us, I've done burpees before, but just doing 40 burpees. How do you feel after that? Well, you're not quite done yet. You
Yeah.
still have, we had the chance last year to have on the circuit Jeremy Langto, which is in the world of CrossFit in Quebec, pretty much wins every single event that exists, in teams. I mean, the guy's a hell of an athlete. And so he came in last year, and I believe he did a third place and mostly fourth, like kind of just there on the edge. And he was telling us that's a guy that cleans over 300 pounds, no issue, no problem. Like, yeah. And he was telling us that 155 feels heavier than that 300 I clean usually in the gym just because of the fatigue, the weather. Like, when you grab a day that it's very sunny, it's 30, 35 outside. I mean, that adds up to the overall fatigue. So it's quite a challenge if you're in the proper category.
Oh, so I've had both sides of it. Last year when I did the same race last year, it was rainy, it was freezing, it was cold, it was yucky. And then I think it was the year before at finals, it was so bloody hot. Like I couldn't, I remember going up the running up the hill and then back down the kind of technical trails, getting to the tire flip, and I was in first in my division quite comfortably, feeling fantastic. Did two tire flips, and all of a sudden, just whoa, the roof caved in. I just bonked like mad, just
I
died.
remember a moment I was sitting in the tower watching you do that.
I was like, holy crap! It just, and I was feeling literally 5 minutes beforehand, feeling completely in control and fantastic, and then just crashed like an airplane falling out of the sky.
Weren't you that year with John Cross and
Yep.
Christian Rioux and Martin Lauzon and that whole gang, right?
That
So
was a great, that was so
those,
exciting. You were up on the tower calling it with Jean and Martin,
yeah, Jean Follem that was there with OJ Cross, not OJ Cross, what's his name? John
John
Cross
Cars, yeah.
and Christian Rioux that was there and Lauzon, and it was Montreal versus Quebec, and that was one of the great moments over the last 12 years. That's
And you think
the
about it
last
too. You think about it too. That wasn't the pro. That wasn't the expert. That
oh
was
no,
the intermediate 55 and up
that
was
gave
the
the
highlight.
best. They gave the best show
And
that
and that's
was.
that's that's the surprise. Like you don't know who's going to be your killer race. It can be anybody. I mean, you could come down and have this amateur race come down to the wire and it just be
Exactly.
super exciting.
Because you could have a very nice pro race, but at the end, one comes in, the other one is a minute and a half later, the other one is 3 minutes later. So they never felt like you could catch up. So you're there and you do the animation with the best you can, but like it's almost a dividend who's going to do. But there's other race where it's down to the wire to the last rep. And I've been also in a position of refereeing when this is happening. They're good, the referees, when they're able to still call the good reps, even when the two guys are head to head like that.
And make no mistake, because we critique judging a lot here, and a lot of other people, I don't say critique, they badmouth judging. Don't do it till you've been there. Till you've been there, and
Oh,
you've been
seriously,
and
no.
you've been in a tight race. You've been judging in a tight race, and if you know rep your guy, that could mean him losing. And it takes stones, it takes guts, and it takes integrity to do it. It's hard. It's very easy to go, that was close enough, I'll let him away with it because it's such a good race. But you can't. You got to be true to the system.
Just think about the steps. Like first you got to recruit. Okay, so that's
Hmm.
that's number one. Find referees. Okay, you do find some, so you can't be picky because there's not 200 knocking at your door.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's barely enough that knocks on your door. So you got to take what you can take. And after that, good thing we have head judges that kind of know the people. So whoever we know that kind of don't do the reps good or will cheat, or we take our best referees and we keep them aside, and when we see him coming, okay, you're taking him to the away. So those are all the steps that we have to do as organizers to make sure that it's well judged. But then after that, when it comes down to the wire, no single referees are the same.
Yeah.
That's the sad part. Especially with crossing a parallel on the squat.
Oh,
Yes, I mean, between being at parallel and at half an inch lower, I mean, you could have there one ref calling yes, one ref calling no. It's very hard to find, like, there are no robots, like we see in the NHL, the wrong calls and everywhere. It's part of it. I see it across the games every year. I'm like, oh
oh,
God, they're giving these rep. But to be there, to have done it personally, it's a tough job to do. Tough job.
it is. And part of it too, and from you as a like a race director or someone who designs the races, the layouts, that's something that's always taken into consideration. And when
Always.
you're like, I want to do this because it's so cool, but I can't because it's going to be a judging fuck up nightmare.
That wall. I'll give you an example. Wall balls last year at the
Hmm.
final. Ever again. We talked to the course director, Jan McDuff. We told him, and he agreed. Never again in a final. It's so like, let's keep at the final things that are easier to judge,
Okay.
because
So
it's
I think I've solved the wall ball thing because I've been
you
watching
saw
High
the
Rocks
whole
so
thing.
much. So much.
Send that
And
to me.
I swear to you, I'm going to send it to you right now, right as
Explain
we
that to
speak,
me.
live and in person. I'm sending you what I think works for
The
wall
only way
balls.
that could work is put another medicine ball and go sit down on the medicine ball. That's
Exactly.
the
I put a
only
box
thing
under it.
possible.
I put a box under it, and everybody hits the box, everybody hits the target. People who are tall have the advantage on the way up. People who are short have the advantage on the way down. Everybody's fine. Judging's easy.
Yeah.
I've had people go, "That's crazy. It looks silly." It doesn't look any sillier than a regular wall ball.
You just know the reason why sometimes we don't do certain things because we're we know that big part of our potential clientele is the CrossFit world. That's a
Yes.
big part of our potential. And doing something different than the way CrossFit does it, you start with a strike. We've lived it in the past. It starts right away with a strike of it looks silly, I'm not going. So sometimes there's things we think like that. That yes, that could be very very smart, but we don't do it just because of potential of that population thinking that it doesn't make sense to actually do it. So that's how we judge our decision as well on what we can do, what we can do, and how to do it. And sometimes we challenge, sometimes we don't. But wall balls, I'm telling you, never again at a final. So
I always thought it was strange. Well, I believe it's strange when you say that from the CrossFit community because when they started out, they were doing movements that classic lifters went, well, this is just ridiculous.
yeah,
You look
exactly.
like a fool flopping around like a fish doing pull-ups. And so to think now that they're doing it to other movements, it's kind of that whole role reversal seems weird because there's so many things in CrossFit now that, like I say, it looks bizarre to people who would just go to the gym regularly, lift a power lifter or whatever, and all the kipping and the movements of the toes to bar, everything not being strict for that looked so odd to everybody. But now
Yeah,
they're
but
like,
I have to say it's the head office CrossFit, like CrossFit Games head office, their message is amazing though. Like it's
yeah,
if you look at CrossFit Games compared to let's say a regular workout that you see in CrossFit gyms and competition, it's like two different message. The message up there, you got to be able to run, you got to be able to swim, you got to be able to be a gymnast.
yeah,
It's that's our sports. You do everything, you know. And so they're promoting something like what we do, RX1 Nations, because there's a run pretty much at every single CrossFit Games every year. And not small ones of 200 meters, though.
yeah.
They'll have 5 kilometers, they'll have 10 kilometers,
Some
they'll have
almost 5Ks.
running. I mean, oh, yeah, an almost 5K, right? But, uh, but yeah, so the message from their top resonates well with us, very, very well. It's when it trickles down, to what you see more commonly that resonates a little less, But I like the fact that the head office is trying to put that in their mind, and you see more and more CrossFit boxes having cardio classes,
Yes.
which they didn't have before, and now they have more and more. So it's a great thing, and it's a great way to go.
Well, even the Open this year seems to have changed compared to many years. There's a lot more engine in the Open
Up
compared to
more.
normal this year.
Just yesterday, I can't remember exactly where they announced the quarterfinal,
Yeah.
and one of them was I believe it was 50 burpees and 50 wall ball, 4 sets or
Yeah.
something like that. That's not for the strong person, That's for people
No.
that have good endurance and cardio and agility.
No, the pure lifters are going to have a rough time. Like it's not going to be
Exactly.
an easy road to the semifinals if you're just a powerhouse. If you don't have an engine, you're going to struggle. But then it opens to people like Miriam Von Rohr who run the Open for the women. Her now she's looking like a solid ticket to the Open to the semifinals because of how her incredible engine and her mobility and her gymnastic ability. There's a girl who I'd love to see at an RX1 event one day. She's fantastic. Um, okay, so one thing I wanted you talked about you're very careful bringing in new movements, new things, new whatever because of, to see how it would go. Is there anything you got in mind that you'd like to start introducing, maybe this year, maybe next, things that you'd like to get in?
We're gonna have the word new apparatus might be wrong, but we'll have new items on the circuit this year. I can't tell you starting when, but at a certain point, there will be new items that have never been seen before on the nation tour. Okay. Not
Nice.
that they're new in a way that you see them in different gym, but on the nation tour, we've never brought these items in. And I'm thinking of three quickly in my head like that. So that would be new this year. I don't want to spoil because we'll be putting them out one by one, to have people getting kind of ready to use this equipment. So instead of surprising them at the race, if it's an equipment that needs a bit of practice, we'll show it for it. It's the same thing for movements. I would say that one way we want to start going is having a complexity within the movement. So, example, what you see this weekend with the cluster and the
Hmm.
hang squat. So it's not just let's lift that weight with one way and it's done. Or there's a sequence to it. There's thinking involved in it. Those are things we want to approach a little bit more. Example, why just do double unders? Why not having 5 double, 5 single, 5 crossover? Do you know what I mean? So you need to shift
Yeah,
your
I know what you
technique,
mean. I don't like it. It's horrible.
shift your technique, you know. Single crossover is something that will come very soon. You know, I can't say that there won't be any this year, but it, it's it's something coming soon because it's quickly to learn. You know, we did it
Yeah.
here, 2, 3 workouts, people are having it. Like it's not complicated to learn a crossover. So those are things we can approach, you know, in the near future because people will learn it quick. You know, the double single crossover like they did across the game last year. That's a different ball game, you know, and it's a lot more practice to that. But those are things that we have in mind to bring. So new items, working with the complexes of the sequence and yeah, and I try to innovate on the carrying. You know, the carrying is it gets boring to always carry in some way, so we try to innovate a little bit in the way that we carry the things.
All right. All right. So from Beth and I, because we had a list of some things that we want to see. We want to see. Number one,
But
straight out. This is straight from Bethany, and anyone in the world can guess it. She would like more running.
more
There's
running.
no surprise there. This is Beth.
That's not the direction that we're trending to. Let's put it that way.
I know.
We,
This is
we
Beth. This is
found
Beth.
we found our sweet spot right now,
Yeah.
where we're pleasing everyone. Yeah.
You know her. If you could put a 2K on a track right in the middle of it, she'd be great with that. She'd be happy with
Yeah.
that. Me, I would like to see, and I think this is more your guys' alley. I would like to see some more heavy dumbbell work, more heavy single arm dumbbell stuff. I'm down with
That's
that.
good.
That's some of my favorite stuff.
I agree with that. That's something part of our plan. Like you see how we increase the weights every year a little bit. We
Mhm.
started to put some ranges. You see in different categories now. We have 35 to 45. Let's say the dumbbells are there's a range. So we're slowly instead of going all of a sudden 20 pounds more, we're kind of slowly bringing them up, creating ranges. Same thing for the RMs. I believe we talked about that
Yep.
last year, but with the RM chart now, you look at 145 for your push jerk. Well, we could go as high as 165, but we might
Yep.
give you 10 reps to do, you know? So that we're slowly making the moves to allow us to challenge you guy. Like, because an expert, you could probably do a dumbbell of 65,
Oh yeah.
one arm snatch for 20 reps.
Yeah.
You know, it wouldn't be stupid to do it, you know? So we're slowly going towards that. So that 100% agree with you.
All right.
100%.
And then a couple of moves I want to see because these are my favorites, and I think that these moves are done often, but not. It's tough to judge because they're difficult. So the one is push-ups. I love me some push-ups. Very simple, very basic, but they're difficult to judge. So what I'd like to see some days, maybe you guys try one day, is hand release shoulder tap push-ups.
Yep.
The hand release on the bottom, so you know the chest is all the way down. You tap a shoulder at the top, and that aids in full extension. So that's always been one. That's a good one. And then my favorite of all is the hip tap pull-up.
The hip tap pull. Oh, yeah, yeah. I saw the video of
Yes,
you
yeah,
doing that.
that's right. I love that. It's easy to judge. It's hard to do. And I mean, you when you tip tap, when you drop the hand, tap your hip. If you want to kip after, whatever, go ahead. It's actually going to slow you down, right?
Well, I talked to our race director, Jan McDuff. Actually, that's a good interview that you could have at one point. Talking to actual director of a
Yeah.
race and how it does the race. It's quite a mathematic
Oh
when it
yeah.
comes, you know, because they have to think that you went to one race and then if you go to the next one, you can't do the same movement, you know.
Yeah.
But then the city hasn't seen these movements yet. So, but to come back, strict push up. It's so funny because we had that conversation me and Jan last week. Because it sounds weird, but it's a good challenge doing strict push up. You
Oh
know,
yeah.
for some guy, it's a joke, but for others, doing 10 good reps of strict push up for certain athletes, it's quite the challenge.
Especially
So,
fatigued.
especially with the fatigue. So, to me, I find the bottom easy because as long as your chest touches the ground,
Yeah.
chest touches the ground, you know. So even if it just need to touch slightly, you know. So the bottom is not for us. It's more the when you push to finish, kind of like with the butt up in the air. That's more our
Yeah.
area where we're like, okay, that part, you know, because even if
Or
you
the worm.
could be or you're in a warm, you know, like that part is where we don't quite have the solution yet as far as that. Or the quality, let's say, of refereeing that could say no rep because it's so obvious that the body wasn't straight anymore as you got up. But that's one where it's kind of warm, if let's put it that way, for what what we have now, what we know now of our athletes and our and the other one, well, that's something I'm sure Jan listening to us will be thinking about that because we try different ways to challenge experts and pros, and that's a very nice way. It forces the strict pull up kind of the way because it's tough to swing out of it. It's straight and it's the
Full
challenges
extension.
as well. So I really like it, and I hope
Yeah.
Jan is listening to this and taking notes.
The push-up thing, like I can describe to a judge how to judge a strict push-up, but there's so many moving parts
That's
that to
that's
watch it at speed in competition becomes very difficult. Because if you, how would I judge a strict push-up to make sure there's no banana back or no arching or whatever? So it's chest to the ground, and before the chest comes off the ground, the knees and the hips both have to be off the ground. So toes are on the ground, knees are up, hips are up, then the chest comes up, then you fully extend. But to
okay.
watch that as a judge all at once is it's
It's
a
like we kind of stopped doing burpees, just a straight up burpees. We
yeah.
stopped. You have the ends on the back. Are they touching? Are you leaning forward? Not leaning forward. It's so many. So not just the burpees over something or flying burpees and no stress. Do whatever you want.
Yeah, you guys have those dive bomb burpees. Those those are funny to watch. People commit, man, they die.
Oh, oh, they commit to it.
I don't know that they're any better off doing that, but the amount of energy that saps and the abuse you take.
It's a fun exercise because it's except the little stepping, that they kind of have a judge. I kind of check that people don't make the step before they jump. Other than that, do what the hell they want. Jump, do have fun.
Well, and we've seen that this is something that High Rocks has struggled with
Oh yeah, yeah,
huge,
yeah.
massively struggled with because the rules are so stringent and everything's kind of like you have to almost guess measurements in your head when you're judging for individuals as they go on the fly. It's very difficult. So yeah, I let your guys weigh. It might be a little bit different. It might be a little bit radical, but it's easy to judge and everybody's fair.
That's it. Exactly. That's the goal.
Yeah. So, like you say, this weekend, I'm going to put this out as quick as we can. I do have two more questions. One you kind of already answered. Expansion is definitely something on your mind and in the works, so we'll worry about that. Prize money for pros in the finals. Is that going to be a thing this year?
Yeah, yeah, it's a thing. We're actually gonna make an announcement soon where we did our research, but there's no other company in the province of Quebec that gives as much prize money in the functional training than us. So we're pretty proud of that. We built that over the years. This year, the way we did it, and I'm pretty happy we went that route. It's good. Is we're giving whoever pro signs up half his fees goes to them.
Nice.
The more pros we have, the bigger the purse is. So for us, it's kind of a smart investment. Let's put it that way. Like we're not want to putting $15,000 out, and there's going to be only 10 pros running. And also with our sponsors, we kind of always offer do you want a pro option sponsor, meaning that are you willing to add to your package, and that money goes to the bursary of the pros. And so far, we had two sponsors that took that option. So we're on our way. We're at $9,000 today, and we haven't started the year. So we're on our way to hit $15,000 in pro money by the time we hit August, which would come out to about 4,000, 10 more dollars per winner.
All right. So Lauren, Meg, Lexi, Carolyn, call me. We'll set it up. We got to run in there, go
We
rough
actually
shot.
did 2 events before. If you don't do 2 events prior to the final, happened last year. Simon Buteau from Gatineau, Gym La Victoire. The guy finished second, thought he had the money prize, and we had to nobody. You weren't qualified for it. You only did one race, so you kind of learn on the spot that. So when I called him this week, I said, Simon, you haven't signed up yet, but just to remind you the rule. He goes, yeah, no problem. So he signed up. He signed up yesterday, and he's a very good athlete. So
Awesome. Awesome. Good to see you. Well, man, thank you very much for this. Anything else you want to say to anybody about this weekend, about the rest of the season?
well, it's a year this year of how can I say that? It's a year of pleasure this year of we're going to put a lot of effort on the fan aspect, the people there at the event, coming to watch it, to live it. That's where we're putting a lot of effort this year to have a good show for people that are coming to see it. And we know at the same time we'll give a good show to the athletes. The more spectators that there is to our events, the better the athletes are going to feel also while they're exercising. So the experience while you're there is something that we're going to put a lot of effort on, and that you should expect when you come to our races here.
Awesome. Well, from a personal perspective, I've been to a lot of events, and when I'm racing, it's fun, and when I'm watching, it's a blast too. So thanks so much, Seb. Everybody out there in RX1 Nation, can't wait to see you this weekend, and take care.
Thank you, Dave.